on this boat?
And then you said you want to come.
Okay, please.
Oh, you want to
come with us, but you have to demonstrate how to walk on the water. Okay?
Come on my boat, folks. Come on my boat.
Thank you. This looks
Now,
good to me.
when we come back in, you have to dive overboard to get on the dock.
I'll see how you do it.
Yeah, you watch me first, huh? Singing about Jesus.
He's up at the front. Michelle, are you looking for Joel?
Good morning, United States! Welcome to Sea of Galilee!
So we have the UK and Canada also. Oh.
I have only one flag.
Oh, and Denmark.
That's right. And Denmark.
Oh, I'm gonna step back. Do a little moonwalk. Everybody stand up.
Okay, so we're gonna turn our whisperers on. And then we're just gonna do, and I want you to get somewhere, especially out here if you can, where you can see, because we're gonna talk about what we can see. First of all, I want to point out, if we look back right over the top of that boat, if you go up to the top, you kind of see a mound of yellow up there. Do you see that? That's a tell, Kinneret. Okay, so that's the ancient Old Testament city that was right here on the lake. And sometimes you'll hear the Old Testament name for this is not, of course, the Sea of Galilee, but Kinneret. And that's where it, or Kinneret was where it comes from, is that site. Also, now if we go out this way, you'll see this pink building way out there in the distance. Do you see that? So that is, if you go to the left of it, then that's where Capernaum is. And of course, we're going to go over there, but just so you have a bearing, it's up on the north side of the lake. Almost all your biblical, all of your biblical events happen on this north side rather than the south side of the Sea of Galilee. And so Capernaum, is there any way we can turn like that way, face that way? Hey,
It's spinning. It'll spin and it'll come that way in a minute.
Michelle. We're facing the opposite direction of what we need to be facing.
There you go.
Okay, maybe it'll.
Yeah, it's spinning around.
So this is our bell that we're looking at here, where we came from. Okay. Then again, the Old Testament site, just as I told you that all the biblical events took place to the north, then we swung around and looked to the south. That's Tiberias that you see over there.
I spent the night there.
Yeah.
Where's Gennesaret?
Named after Tiberias. What?
Was it Gennesaret?
Kinneret is right over the top of that boat.
That's where the people would touch Jesus and they'd be healed, right?
No, this is the Old Testament site up here, Kinneret.
Gennesaret?
Oh, Gennesaret. Yeah, that's related to that site. I mean, it's related to the Old Testament. Yeah. Okay, now let's look at. I'm pointing this way, and you see a big thing of trees up on top with you see a church in there. So that's the Mount of Beatitudes. Okay, and
See the church.
yeah, and then the traditional place of the feeding of the 5,000 is down from that to the left, Tagva. Then again, we go to the right down the shore, and you come to Capernaum to the left of that pink and white building. And then beyond that, you can see the canyon, right, where the Jordan River is coming in from the north. And then you see a real flat area out further to the right of Capernaum, and that's the delta area where the Jordan is coming into the north part of the Sea of Galilee. Then you see a raised up area to our right there. That's the Golan Heights. And if you look straight behind Capernaum, you can see ancient, volcanoes up there. You see those, the cone shaped? And so this is a very volcanic, you'll see a lot of basalt around, volcanic rock. Golan Heights, we're going to be staying on this eastern side of the lake for the next 2 days. And so most of the disciples come from Capernaum and then Bethsaida, which is further to the right down in that delta. In fact, it's right next to where the Jordan River comes into the Sea of Galilee. So most of the disciples come from there, or many of them. Yeah, the question is, where did Jesus and Peter walk on water? They built a church over it to commemorate it, but it sunk. And so it's unfortunate, but
They didn't keep its eyes on Jesus.
they had a real hard time. Herod the Great would have been able to do it, but and we'll be driving up around on this north side. We'll drive right past Kinneret, and we'll go over to Capernaum. We'll cross over the Jordan River where it's flowing in on the north side. And I want you to think about this, because if I can remember, hopefully I will, but when we're in Jerusalem and we're fighting the crowds, and there's all these holy men walking by you, and you're looking at them going, I wonder what group those holy men are from, and all this chaos, religious chaos of Jerusalem, and all the holy men that you're going to see. This is the way it was also in the first century. And so imagine the contrast of that, of Jesus coming up here and going, and preaching and asking these Jewish fishermen that weren't holy men, but were just trying to catch a fish. They're the ones that he chose and came up to and follow me, and they dropped their nets and followed him. They were, of course, they grew up in their villages in the synagogue, hearing their scriptures, hearing the prophecies. They had the expectation of the Messiah. Mary, as a Jewish girl, had an expectation of the Messiah, probably that he was coming soon. She just didn't expect him to come through her. And so it's the same way with these up here. They had that messianic expectation, and then they just weren't expecting that the Messiah was going to come to them as fishermen and ask them to follow. If you go on my website, I have a video short on, I spent time with the fishermen out here catching, and so they put out their nets. We had our kayaks. They put out their nets all in the night, left them out in the middle of the night, and then in the morning they pulled in the nets, and then there's lots of catfish in this lake. And guess what they did with the catfish? When they got them they killed the catfish, and then they threw them overboard into the water. And then they kept all the clean fish that were clean for eating. And so that's one of our examples in the that Jesus taught, is in separating those at the end, is separating the clean from the unclean fish.
According to kosher, clean fish must
Yeah.
have two fins and scales.
Yeah, for it to be a clean
A
fish,
clean fish.
it's got to have 2 fins and scales.
Scales.
So a catfish,
Exactly.
if you've ever felt
That's why
they're
they
just
throw the
skin.
catfish.
Yeah, which is why there's so many catfish in this in the sea.
So their fishing boats during Jesus' time, were they bigger, smaller than this, what we're on right now?
Oh yeah,
Size
much
wise?
smaller. They're the size of that reconstruction that you saw back at Gennesaret, and you saw they're you're talking 15 to 20 feet long, and that's actually the size. I don't know if we'll see any fishing boats out here, but the size of the boat that I was on was like that. It's very small still, and out in front of Capernaum there's underwater springs that come up, and so the fishing activity even today still concentrates on that area a lot. Yeah, that's where we went when I was out with the fishermen, and we were out with them all night. And then of course that's what Jesus was talking about when he said, I will make you fishers of men.
Why is this considered a sea, not a lake?
Well, if you live in this area, yeah, you this is so, it's just so unique, such a huge body of water, and so it's just referring to it as a vast, body of water. It's also called the lake in Scripture, even in our, Lake Kinneret or Lake Tiberias. And that's another thing we were talking about, is you can call it Kinneret, you can call it the Sea of Galilee in the region of Galilee, you can call it the Sea of Tiberias or the Lake of Tiberias if you live in Tiberias. So things are called different things in different periods and from the perspective of who is speaking about it.
Joel, did you say it's called Mount Arbel?
Arbel, yeah.
Arbel,
It's over here.
Is that in your book?
No.
About what happened?
No. None of these sites up here. Capernaum will definitely be in volume 2.
Yeah. Volume 2.
Yeah. It was in my book that I was writing with
your
100 sites.
Hello.
Hello, you gonna demonstrate for us?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Here.
My name is Peter.
I'll get out of his
Now
way.
I show it because they get something for the lunch today.
I'm gonna turn this back on.
Sir.
I can stay?
That is it. Cast your net to the right side of the boom.
Oh, right side. Okay.
Let's prepare our dinner.
How to pray?
Yeah. We don't need a catfish. St. Peter.
Oh.
St. Peter fish.
Yeah, catch a bird.
Okay. Ready in the cameras? 1, 2, 3, and 3.
Now keep in mind, this kind of cast fishing is done near the shore in the shallows, or when you've got your fish trapped in a bigger net that you're catching them then out of the middle that are already caught.
Sure.
Come on. Pull up.
So don't
Pull up.
Okay.
Pull up. It's heavy. Maybe catch something. Come on, pull up.
Oh, look, you can see the marks of people.
Now you go. Maybe something in there.
Just a second. Nothing this side. About what Jesus say? What Jesus say?
No.
Test the net.
Try the other side.
Try the other
There we
side.
go. Amen.
Fished all night, didn't catch a thing. He said throw on the other side.
Yeah.
That's right.
Hello, friends. That's 153 fish.
Yes. That's it.
153.
Yeah.
1 second. Please.
You will starve tonight.
Friends, I not promise nothing. This is not made in China.
Chinese product.
Get some, I want my money back.
Okay. 1,
1, 2, 3.
Don't worry, this is holy water.
Holy water.
Amen.
All right.
Tati, što ka to? Bez zapaše.
Do you ever have anything to do with them? Do you?
Something.
Which is, I believe it's in Colombia.
Captain.
Go try it again.
Go other side. Go.
Second time's charm.
Pull up. Dinner, please. Dinner. Pull up. Oh, Baba, I get something.
Hey! He got one. That's good, bro.
We can eat that.
That is good.
This is better fish made in China come together in the net. I'm very sorry, not lunch today. Thank you.
Yeah.
Today chicken, I don't know. Thank you, friends.
Thank you.
Maybe next time I get something.
Yeah. Need more shallow water. Then we're too deep.
Yeah, this is too
If you
much.
see fishing boats, chances are this is the worst time to see fishing boats because it's the middle of the day. If you're up early because of jet lag and you're walking along the shore in the early morning, that's the best time to see them. They'll be small little boats. Okay, I already graduated.
Take your certificate with you.
Thank you very much for everything.
God bless
God bless you.
Watch your step, looking down.
Thank you very much, Peter.
Welcome.
That's fabulous. Thank you.
Always remember our famous singer. Yeah.
Thank you, Michelle.
You're welcome, man.
Oh, look, fishermen.
Fisherman.
My group. Hey. Hey. Fishermen.
Here is the
Out
fisherman.
there. That's what they look like. Everybody hear me? see their nets. They got their nets right there in the back in the center. I mean, usually in the afternoon, probably half of the day, the wind picks up, and then it blows hard across. So when we kayak across the Sea of Galilee, we usually don't even have to across.
Well, the problem was they said, remember, that it was like the middle of summer. It's
hard to imagine.
In the terrain, the guy.
They have a it's the reason that they have.
So this is Peter's boat. This is from the time of Jesus. And I have this room to myself. Once I've filmed it, I'll take pictures of the other artifacts. I think it was found at extremely low tide. Has been dated to the time of Jesus.